Welcome back to another CHEAP-O Multimeter review. That's right, I am here to feed that frenzy, the CHEAP-O frenzy, and rest assured, I am going to feed you well. Today we're looking at the all-new ANENG M10, or ANENG M10, whatever you want to say, it's an ANENG. And we all know ANENG is hot or cold when it comes to multimeters. Let's hope that this one is on the hot side. Let's take a look. This ANENG did not ship in a box, instead it shipped in a half decent case. And this case is a little on the unusual side just because it's rather wide as opposed to just fitting the meter exactly like a lot of these ANENGs do. A lot of times the ANENGs will come in those nifty little pouches. Looks like a little treasure pouch full of gold nuggets. Well, not the case here, but I do prefer this. If anything, it's probably a little bit on the large side, but hey, that's okay. Not much else. You get your test leads, which we'll take a look at, and a very tiny user manual. Now this manual, they're talking about the ZT101 from Zotac, the ZT101-102. And this is probably another incarnation of that meter. A little more new style, as we'll find out, but based on the same bloodlines. Themselves are rated for 10 amps, has a Cat 3 rating on them. They do have that shrouding over the edge, and fairly pointy. Not you're not going to do sword fighting with these, at least not yet. But quality-wise, you know, they're a little on the small side, a little chubby. We'll see how they perform. In terms of markings, they do have a 1000 volt, 105 degree or 42 degrees Celsius rating. PVC is what they are made out of, and if we take a look at the shroud, it's actually not very long at all. But we will see how good or not so good these guys are. Meter itself is your typical ANENG style, quite small, diminutive in size, but it does have that dual off, which I really like. And if we take a look at that rotary selector switch, got the nice clackety clack. It does get to the ranges with authority, and it doesn't seem to get stuck midway. Tilt stand itself does come up. Now this is a reincarnation of the older style. This one does have that see-through capability. It is probably, I'd say, an improvement on the old ANENG style stand. Still, it's not going to hold up the meter unless you're physically holding it. But I do think it is an improvement over the older tilt stand. Let's take a good close look at that display, and I'll let you be the judge. What do you think? Is that clear, contrasty? It seems to be. The digits are slightly italicized is the best way I can describe it. A little on the narrow side, but once again, it does seem to be fairly easy to read. Holding down on the hold button will illuminate that display, and that illumination will only last for approximately 30 seconds. The other feature as well is the auto off. You simply hold down on the select switch, turn the meter on, and the auto off functionality has been disabled. Taking a look at the selector switch, we start off at the 9 o'clock position in the off position. Moving up one notch, we are in volts AC or DC, and it does default to DC volts. Next, millivolts AC DC. Continuity, diode, capacitance, and resistance. Followed by frequency and duty cycle. Next is current mode. We have two choices, starting off with amps, AC-DC. Milliamps, AC-DC. Finally, in the 3 o'clock position, we have another off. We have two selector switches. The top left, we have your select, which will diversify the ranges when you are in a multi-mode selection, as well as we have the hold and the auto backlight. I picked up this ANENG M10 for approximately $18 Canadian, around $14-15 US. The 6,000 count ANENG M10 is a light meter. How light is it? Let's find out. We're looking at 4.2 ounces, or 118 grams. So indeed, this meter really is super light in the hand. Going to start out with a voltage accuracy test. Now, one thing worth pointing out is that you really got to push down on these leads to get them in the input jacks. So yeah, give a little bit of pressure there. No pressure, no problem. Alrighty, so here we are in low millivolt mode, and we should be looking at 250 millivolts, and we're getting 249. Hey, pretty close. We want to see 2.50. Once again, close enough, 2.496. Alrighty then, I thought we'd bring in some of the good old boys and do our little DC voltage countdown. We're starting off at half a volt, and as you can see, they're all pretty close. 541, 540, 542, and 542. Now, of all the meters, the ANENG M10, the spotlight is on him, and as you can see, he is actually the smallest of the roundup. All right, here we go. Increasing that voltage. Let's take it up to a whopping 4.2 volts. And we're showing 4.3 for the Mestec, 4.29 for the ANENG, 4.3 for rich meters, and 4.29 for the WinApex ET8101. Hey, I gotta say, I really like this WinApex ET8101. This is a very sweet multimeter. Now, this is not the boot that this meter ships with. This boot actually came off of the Rich Meters 113D, but it does fit almost perfectly. Taking up that voltage, here we go, up to a whopping let's make it 16 volts even. 16.1 for the Mestec, 16.1, 16.2, and 16.1. So all fairly neck and neck. Going up to 20, let's do 23 volts. 23 volts on the DC power supply, 23.1 for the Mestec, 23.1 for the M10 Rich Meters 113, 23.1 and 23.1 for the WinApex. You can see all super spot on. We're gonna max it out now at 31.5 volts, 31.6 for the Mestec, 31.5 for the ANENG, 31.6 and 31.6. Hoorah! Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, wow. As you can see, they are all very close. Now, none of these meters, unfortunately, has a bar graph display, but I will adjust the voltage up and down a little bit, and I will just see if I can come to some quick conclusion as to which is the fastest to range. Honestly, it is pretty darn close. I'm gonna probably, wow, very close. I'm gonna give this edge, I think, to the WinApex ET8101 with the ANENG M10 coming in a very close. I never promised you a rose garden, but I did promise you some low current testing, and that's what we're doing right now. We are in milliamps mode, sitting at 110 milliamps, and you can see the ANENG is having no problems. Now just remember that this ANENG does share that milliamp with the voltage jack on the right, so you do not have that separate input. Here we are, 110. Now this has a 200 milliamp capability, and let's max it out. Let's bring it up now to 160, 170, 180, 190, 200 milliamps, and we are at the threshold, but we are still in business. All right, how high can it go? Let's find out. 210 milliamps, we're still there. 230, 240, 250, 260. Hey, looking good. 270, 280, 290, 320 milliamps, and we are still going strong. Now remember, we are at 120 milliamps over that current fuse rating, but you know what? Let's live on the edge. 320. It'll be interesting to see what kind of fuses are in this ANENG, because so far no snap, crackle, pop. Let's see how high we can take it. 350 milliamps, we are still good to go. Let's take it right to 400 milliamps, 400, and we are sold. Taking it up higher. Wow, hey, I'm not expecting this. And we are at 450 milliamps. Now it is starting to go south already. So pretty well up into 400 milliamps. Double the rated current capacity of this meter, and it was good to go. Going to be really interesting to take a look at what is on the inside, but 400 milliamps are sitting at 8 mega ohm right now, and as you can see, there's no worries here. If we just cycle down, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mega ohm, and really quick to settle. I like what I see. Sitting at 90k kilo ohm and looking good. Take that down to 40 kilo ohm, and it's really quick to settle. Hey, no worries here. Let's try 22 mega ohm resistor. Pretty close. And once again, it's fairly fast, which I'm really liking. Finally, we'll check a 0.5 ohm resistor. Here we go. Showing up as 0.4 ohm. Now, I did not check the leads. Let's see if we have any resistance in these leads. Look at that. Perfect. LED testing time. Here we go. Starting off with the green LED. And it is lighting up, and we do have that forward voltage. Here's the yellow, looking good. Red, oh, 3 for 3 so far. Here comes the blue. Wow, finally the white is gonna do 5 for 5. And it is. So a forward voltage drop as well as illuminating that LED. Taking a look at the output voltage in diode mode for the ANENG M10, we have an impressive 4 volts. Excellent. Next up is capacitance mode, and we are in capacitance. Now, as you can see, there is no rail feature on this ANENG M10, and we do have a little bit of residual capacitance, so we can always do the math. Let's start off with 3.3, showing up as 2.9 microfarad. Here is a small 0.01 microfarad, coming up as 10 nanofarad, looking good. Now we're going to move up to some bigger boys. I'm not talking 100 microfarad. No. We are in the big leagues now. Starting off with a 10 millifarad, 10,000 microfarad. We don't like to mess around on this channel. Here we go. Will it read the max that it's supposedly capable at? Already it's thinking we do have that visual indicator, which I like. We're in the millifarad range, as you can see. And no problem, 9.39 millifarad. Now let's just hold that reading and let's just compare it with the Exelvan. And as you can see, the Exelvan capacitance meter is a green in no uncertain terms. Very close. Oh, why not? Why not? You know this was coming, right? 100,000 microfarad or 100 millifarad. And will it read 100,000 microfarad? Survey says. Thinking. Come on, baby. Don't be shy. Don't let 100,000 pass you by. And we are OL out of luck. Dang, I was really hoping it was going to do that. Okay, well, I am a little bit stubborn, and I'm going to try this 47,000 microfarad or 47 millifarad, and let's see if it does any better with that. Here we go. 47 millifarad, do we see you? Come to Papa. No. So, well, you know what? No harm in trying, and trying is what we did. We are maxed out at 10 millifarad, 10,000 microfarad, but hey, that's not too bad. Next up is continuity mode, and as always, I will start off with the default probes the meter ships with. I always think it's a good idea to try the probes because not everybody can afford an ultra uber nice set of probe masters or Brymans. So here we go with the default probes. Wow, it's latched, it's fairly loud. And considering these are the default probes, I'd say that was pretty darn good. Okay, probe masters, here we go. Can it get any better than that? And yes, it can. Wow, awesome. It hits every single one. That's a 10 out of 10. I don't even need to apply any pressure. Wow, excellent continuity. The ANENG M10 scores an impressive 72.5 on the dBA scale. Quite impressive. In AC volts mode right now, we should be looking at about 120 volts here in Canada, and we're pretty darn close at 119.5. Now this also does frequency and duty cycle, however, you do have to change the ranges to get there. 60 hertz, no problem, and 49.8, almost 50% duty cycle. Looks good. Already I can't find my mother-in-law, so instead we're going to use the ANENG for the high voltage test. Just kidding, Mom. We are going to be putting about 1,000 volts DC, and this does have a 1,000 volt capacity rating, so let's see at least if it can reach that without any bells or whistles. And speaking of bells or whistles, once it exceeds that 1,000 volts, let's see if we have an audible alarm. Fasten your seat belts, put on the safety goggles. Here we go. So we do have that over voltage alert, and we hit 1,000 volts without any issues. We'll try that one more time. High voltage alert kicks in once we hit 1,000 volts plus, and all is good. Excellent. I gotta say, this little meter is impressing me. Next up, it's time to take this baby apart. Here we go. Looking at the back, we have 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws to take off the back case assembly. Already these screws are done, and woo, that was simple. So we have 2 AAA batteries that are powering this little beast of burden, and let's take a deeper look on the inside. Starting off with the inside of the case, no shielding, no surprise. That's pretty well all she wrote. Now if we take a look at the PCB itself, starting at the bottom of the input jacks, they're of the metallic split variety. On the current side of things, we have that current shunt right here. We also have a couple of diode rectifiers, 2 of them to be exact. Now if you do notice, we do not have any of your typical legacy style fuses. Now a lot of the ANENGs in the past have had those tiny, ridiculously tiny little glass fuses. Sometimes they were ceramic, but nonetheless they were a bloody pain to try and replace. Here they seem to have done away with that escapade, and we are now looking at 2 different styles of fuses. On the 10 amp side here, I believe this is a high-powered pulse-proof thick film chip resistor acting as your fuse input. Now, according to spec, that is only rated, this particular one here, as a 1 amp rating. Now this does have a 10 amp rating, so that is a little disturbing. Sorry, let's get that a little bit closer for you. So yeah, so that does have a 1 amp rating. That is your high current input here. Diode rectifiers and our current shunt, that is all on the amp side of things. On the milliamp side, we have this little guy over here. Once again, they have replaced that legacy style fuse. This is a 200 milliamp current sensing resistor. Now we see that that was very capable. It actually went up to just over 400 milliamps before it started to break down. But once it did break down, not a worry. A few seconds later, it is back up into sensing mode. Love this idea. I think we should see it more and more, especially on these inexpensive, aka cheapo multimeters. I think this style of fuse is the way to go. On the voltage side, we also have 3 belts over here, 2 10 mega ohm and 1 mega ohm. A little loose on this one. It does have a couple of little holders, fasteners there. So if you do take it apart, you want to make sure that that is nice and tight. It is soldered in at the very bottom here just by a couple of soldering joints, but really that's all you're going to need. Finally, on the voltage side, we have that one lonely PTC right there, and that is basically it. Moving up the board, we do see the cobbed IC, and what a pretty cob that is. I mean, that is like perfect. Wow. I have no idea at this point what the actual IC is that they're using. I do not think it is the DreamTech variant, but if I can get this information out to you before I do the review, I will definitely post it in the remarks. Also, we have the one speaker, and this is the positive negative that are feeding the LCD display. One crystal oscillator over here. If we look at the fab date, we do see September 12th. 2018, so yes, this is a new multimeter. Now this does not come with any gimmicks. There is no backlight, no flashlight, no NCV, no live detect, and all this other interesting stuff that they're throwing on these cheapo multimeters. No, this is just your basic hard-working little guy. I'm gonna come back. Finally, on the voltage side, we do have one lonely PTC right here. Too bad we didn't see a little bit more in terms of the overall input protection. Generally speaking, you're going to want to keep this on the low voltage side of things. Obviously, there's no high voltage isolation slots, and this fuse replacement here for me remains questionable. I don't even know if that is the proper current rating. Closing thoughts on the ANENG M10. You can tell I like this meter. I have not been always impressed with ANENG. They are hot and cold, as I said in the opening remarks. But that being said, this meter is definitely on the hot side. And I don't mean that it's stolen. No. I mean, it's just really good multimeter. It has a lot of guts for such a little meter. Look at that milliamp range, only rated at 200, but with that self-resetting fuse, we got up to 400 milliamps. No problem. Decent capacitance range, 10 millifarad. Yes, it's not 100, but that being said, you know what? 10 millifarad is definitely a-okay. 60 mega ohm for resistance, and generally build quality, it's not bad. Once again, I am a fan of these self-resetting style fuses. Now, it's a little iffy in the high current department. Do not use this on high voltage. I just don't think it's too risky. But that being said, keep this for low voltage, hobby electronics. Even at work, if you're on the low voltage side of things, I think it's going to serve you quite well. This 6,000 count True RMS baby from ANENG is definitely something that you're going to want to get your girlfriend, your mother-in-law, yourself. Hint, hint. The ANENG M10 gets a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching this review. As always, keep those comments and feedback coming. Never get enough. I love hearing it. And you know what? I know the summer is coming, but rest assured, there is no vacation. No vacation going on for me. No, I'm going to be churning out multimeter videos and specials by the boatload. That's right. Lots of stuff coming down the pipe. And I want to say thanks to all my friends out there and a couple of viewers who have sent me some really interesting multimeters, which I will be taking a look at very shortly as well. Till the next time, keep on testing.